Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Business 119 Business Communications. We are in what is almost our final unit. We're working on our reports, and as you can see, I'm starting where I almost always start, which is on our course homepage. Just a reminder that you've got your video library here, and what we've done so far is you've just made and posted your questionnaire. All right, so here we are under the reports unit, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the overview and due dates for reports. And I just want to remind you that you have chapters 9 and 10 to do. Those are due on May 8th, so that's coming up. These are helpful chapters. They will walk you through formatting and developing a report, including making charts and graphs. Now, the final report is due in a couple of weeks, so we have time, but I want you to go ahead and get a head start. What I'm going to talk you through today is the actual prompt for the research report. All right, but don't forget that you have two chapters 9 and 10 to do in the coming week. All right, so going back out to our home page, let's take another look at the whole unit on reports. So here we are. By now you've chosen your topic. Now, what you may not have done a lot of, and it's time to start doing this, is some background research. You've also started gathering your data. You made the questionnaire and you posted the questionnaire. Hopefully you got a couple of pieces of feedback from some of your classmates. Now, if you haven't gotten the bulk of your questionnaires answered and you want to make some changes, you can always do that. So there were a number of questionnaires I saw where people had, for example, some overlapping categories. You may have realized that you asked too many simple yes/no questions and you wanted to make a more complex survey. The better your data, the better your analysis, and the better your final paper will be. So if you decide to make a new questionnaire, that's okay. When you send out your questionnaire through social media, use all of the same questionnaire. So if you make a new questionnaire, just use that one moving forward. But you need to get at least 20. So you can post them through Facebook, any type of your whatever social media account you use. Make sure that you get at least 20 respondents. You can certainly get more than that. That's fine. You don't have to remake your questionnaire. You can certainly work with what you've got. But if you felt that you made mistakes and you want to make some new questionnaires, that's fine. That's fine too. But so here's what we've done. You've made your questionnaire and you've gathered some data. You're going to gather some more data. All right. That's called your primary data. And in my previous video, I talked about how to correlate data. You might want to go back and watch a few of the videos again. There was a video where I talked about starting to make charts and graphs, formulating your raw data, looking for trends and patterns. So if you haven't watched that yet, or you might want to go back and take a second look at that on making charts and graphs, because that comes from your primary data. But you also need to look at what else has been done in terms of secondary data. So that's background research. Now, this page right here just has a couple of quick links. This will take you to the library databases so that you can start to research what have other people said about your topic. And you want to know if there's been a similar study, even if it's not exactly the same as yours, you still want to gather information about what else has been done. So let's say student health, for example. You may find it helpful to look up current newspaper articles or periodicals that are pulling information from the daily news, because obviously there's a lot being discussed right now about campuses and the impact on students with our current pandemic. So you can go ahead and pull in some of that current research. You might also want to look at other studies that have been done on student stress levels and student health in general. So you will find articles in the databases. Now, it's helpful if you find things that are current, so within the last couple of years, and as much as you can, if it's helpful if you find things that are somewhat local. All right? So go ahead and do your secondary research, look for the databases. You do need to cite that. This is a link that will take you to a citation refresher page. It's okay if you use either MLA or APA formatting. Either is fine. Be consistent and do it correctly. All right. So I am going to grade you more rigorously in your final research paper on your use of sources and your citations. So please make sure that you're following along. And again, back in our unit here, the links are right here in doing your background research. Now, one of the tricks with doing the final research paper is balancing the amount of background information, the secondary data, with your own primary data. I recommend, and I'll show you my prompt because I have some page guidelines. I recommend that you use a little bit of background data to sort of put things in perspective, and also as a point of comparison. Here's what I found and here's what other people said. So make sure that you do that comparison. You don't want to give pages and pages and pages of just everything that everyone else said. You can use charts and graphs from your secondary research if they're cited appropriately, but don't only show me graphs. In other words, if you show me 10 graphs and you have 10 pages of what everybody else said, and then you only have 1 page and 1 graph of what you found, that's not a good balance. It would be better if you had, 5, 6, 7 pages of your own research, and then maybe 2, 3, 4 pages of the secondary research. That's going to be a better balance. All right? So make sure that you do the background research. Make sure that you get the rest of your completed questionnaires. Go back and look at my video on charts and graphs. This is also a helpful tip sheet on making charts and graphs, but what I want to show you now is the prompt for the final paper. All right? This link down here will take you to sample business report formatting. That's going to look familiar because you used that for the career and job analysis report. So we're using the same business report formatting. Here's the rubric. You'll notice that this is essentially, even though it's not our final assignment, we have one more assignment coming due after this. This is the bulk of your points in terms of projects. This paper is worth 100 points. This is really your final paper, so you want to make sure that you do a good job. Recommended length, 10 to 12 pages. So here's what will be included. Your primary research, which is what you just did. Methodology means you tell me how you did it. You handed out surveys through Facebook and through our discussion board. You collected 20. You collected your raw data. That's your methodology. That's how you went about collecting the research. You might want to talk a little bit about how you designed the questionnaire. You put some of that in the discussion, so think about why you designed the questions that you did. Now, if you learned along the way that you made some mistakes, go ahead and talk about that. You can put that in the paper. All right? What you learned and what you might do better next time around. That's fine. Secondary citations is needed from your secondary research. And then the tables, charts, and graphs from your primary research. The analysis will be a combination of your analysis of your primary research, but also a comparison between your research and that secondary background research that we just talked about. All right, here's another link for citations if you need it, the same link. And here's the recommended outline. I recommend that you give me an introduction and an overview of your topic. You'll see in parentheses for each one that I have a suggested page count. This is not set in stone. You can go longer. If you're going too much shorter than this, you might not have enough detail. All right? Then give me the background information. Now, the citations can come at the end of the paper, but I recommend that after your introduction, you sort of set the stage, give me that background research. And then talk about your own research methods and strategy. We just described that, how you developed your questionnaire, how you did your research. And then we talked about this in my last video on charts and graphs. I want you to give me a sample questionnaire where you make the raw data. So take one blank questionnaire and fill in how many people answered each question. Under each answer, how many people selected what, for example, age range. How many people were in the 18 to 25? How many people were in the 26 to 30? Go ahead and just tabulate how many people answered each question in each way. That's your raw data. That's going to give you a sense of what tables, charts, and graphs you need to prepare. You do not need a chart for each question. Choose the questions that are most relevant to your discussion. My recommendation is 6 to 10 charts and graphs. You can put more than one graph on each page. Now, sometimes people like to write the analysis, show me a graph, write the analysis, show me a graph. That's fine. Or you can have a section where you have all of your graphs and then a section where you have all of your analysis. Either is fine. All right? And I mentioned this previously, don't just show me all pie charts. Part of what I'm grading you on is your ability to make the best visual representation of your data. So use different types of charts and graphs that best represent your data. The analysis, and this is a big point, please don't just summarize. Don't just tell me what it is. You can give me a little bit of summary, but you need to tell me what it means. And so that's why we said make correlations. So again, and I brought this up in a previous video, so go back and review some of this. What are you learning about the types of people who answer the different questions? What are the patterns and trends? What did you learn, and what does it mean? Go ahead and give me a conclusion based on your original thinking. I really want to know about your insights and also your recommendations. So this is really important. The analysis, the patterns and trends, your discussion of the correlating factors and what they mean, and then your recommendations. Okay? So that's your outline that will walk you through each step of the paper. And again, go back and look at my previous video on charts and graphs if you need help with some of the correlations. Good luck. Let me know if you have questions.